Hi everyone, welcome to Live Stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's class is a little midweek energy booster. We're going to warm up with the A series of the Tibetan rites. I'm going to shoot for a moderate, about 21 repetitions of each rite. You are more than welcome to speed it up or slow it down, depending on how the body is feeling. And then we'll start playing in earnest and having some fun on the mat. You ready to do this? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class standing in the middle of the mat with the feet in a comfortable summer seat. Tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, and start with the arms soft at your side. If spinning is contraindicated for you, you're going to just gently stand up nice and tall and swing your arms side to side as you tap the alternate shoulder. Otherwise, you're going to stand in a T frame for me, and you're going to start moving in a clockwise fashion, shooting for roughly about 21 spins. If you're feeling really dizzy, there's a neat little trick you can try. Find a focal point on the wall or the floor in front of you, and every time you complete one revolution, bring your eye back to that point so that you've got a little focal point to help hone your focus and your concentration. Let's do 2 more spins. When you completed your last spin, you're going to bring your hands to prayer in front of your eye line, and you're going to look at your thumbnails. Nothing else. Let your thumbnails be your focal point. Allow the room to stop spinning. And when you feel comfortably centered, bring it down to a kneel on the mat. From the front, I want your knees stacking underneath your hips. From the side, tuck your toes under so that your heels are stacking behind your knees. Kneel up nice and tall, so no rounded back line. Arms are soft at your side with your chin dropped softly towards your chest. Inhale to bring it into a gentle camel line and cup your bum. Exhale to nod your chin to your chest. You're going to move dynamically between the two, keeping that nice high kneeling frame on the mat and that long line through your spine. Use your breath. Inhale as you come into the supported back bend, and exhale as you nod your chin to your chest. Let's do 6 more, then we'll find a seated frame on the mat. Last one. Gently relax your feet into the mat. Sit back onto your heels and scooch off to one side, finding a seat at the front of your mat. For this one, you can either give me a flat hand or you can give me a fist, whichever works better for you. I think I'm going to play with a fisted line this morning. So standing up nice and tall, arms at your sides, more or less in line with your hips. Give me a nice strong staff pose. Then float your hands behind, lining up underneath the shoulders. Bend the knees and push up into a little tabletop line before you float back to your start position on the mat. Rinsing and repeating, and moving dynamically between your seated staff and your little tabletop line. As you push up into that tabletop line, I want a nice strong push away through the feet and your hands, whether you're using a flat hand or a fist. Bringing your hips up nice and evenly towards the ceiling. Use your breath, allow your breath to follow your movement, and make sure that your weight distribution is equal on the arms and the legs when you're pushing up into that tabletop line. So try not to favor either the arms or the legs. Give me a subtle shift through your core. Let's do 6 more, and then we'll find our way onto the back, and we'll activate into the core. Last one. Give me one gentle roll down to come down on the back, nodding your chin to your chest, C curving out, and coming into extension on the mat with the arms and the legs long and relaxed. A neutral spine position, a little space between your lower back and the mat. Take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, float your legs up to 90, scoop and round out your lower back and float to hover your arms just off the mat. Come back to your start position. Exhaling as the arms and the legs come up. Inhaling as you come back to your start position on the mat. If keeping your legs extended is too much for you, give me a soft tabletop line and softly drop the soles of the feet to the mat. If you're feeling any tension behind the head, you can modify the movement, keeping your head on the mat and just playing with the arms and the legs. You won't feel as much of a core connection, but you will still feel the work happening. So pick your poison and play where you're at. Use your breath. Exhale as you scoop. Inhale as you draw back to your start position on the mat. I'm going to do 2 more, then I'll cradle rock it out and find my way to 4-point kneeling. Use that sideways rocking motion and roll yourself over, finding your way to a comfortable 4-point kneeling frame on your mat. Make sure you've got enough room to extend out into a plank line. Once you've found your plank, find your up dog line by moving your hips with control through the plank line, giving me a nice bend through the back, strong through the arms and the core. Exhale, hit a down dog. Move dynamically between the down dog and the up dog, transitioning with control through the plank line to find your up dog. If you're feeling a little tender today and the up dog is too much for you, you can give me a comfortable 4-point kneel and lightly tap or graze your knees to the mat as you use that as an alternative. Play where you're comfortable. Exhaling for the down dog and inhaling for your controlled up dog or your modification of choice. Use your breath. Every time you hit the down dog frame, try to get a nice stretch up the back chain of your legs. Really push weight into those heels and feel that tight little knot behind the knee begin to open up. Let's do 5 more. From here, we're going to find our way to 4-point kneeling on the mat, and we're going to cat-cow out. Check that your hands are stacking underneath your shoulders. Exhale to round out and pause, feeling the stretch into the lower back and the shoulders. Inhale to come through neutral spine with control, giving me a concave shape. Play with the cat-cow, finding the breath ratio that works for you. I'm playing more or less at a 1-to-1 inhalation to exhalation today. And using Chakrabhakasana more as a little release into the back and a warm up through the spine. Make sure that even when you're giving me that concave shape, you're keeping your abs softly engaged, and not allowing your lower belly to hang on the floor. Keeping the weight distribution more or less equal on the arms and the legs. Let's float our way into a down dog. Tuck your toes under and settle into your down dog. Hands shoulder width apart. Pushing weight into the whole hand. Connect with all 10 digits and make sure you're pushing through the palm and the fingers. Sink the heels of your feet as close to the floor as you can. Pike your bum up and nod your crown heavily down towards the floor. Hold. Use it as a little bit of a stretch and almost a little recovery pose. This is the great stretch for all the muscle groups, all the major muscle groups in the body. Find your way into the plank line and hold your plank. Nice and strong, body line parallel to the mat. Strong through the arms, strong through the legs. Let's chaturanga down. I want you to give me a controlled chaturanga dandasana. Use your knees for support if you need them. Bend the elbows, load through the bicep and the tricep as you come down. Try to hover off the mat for a second. Then softly release to the mat and slide your hands forward slightly so that your palms are just in front of your shoulder line. Relax the feet softly in parallel behind you and relax your forehead to the mat. We're going to play up a little dynamic cobra. Find a little marble, roll it away from you to the front of the mat and start gently articulating up. Stop just before your bottom rib disconnects. Find a baby cobra line and then just give me a little shrug and a release in the shoulders. Shrugging in one direction and then shrugging in the other, getting rid of all that tension in the neck and the shoulder area. Peel softly back down to the mat and take a recovery breath or two. Coming back up and holding the baby cobra this time. Find that marble, roll it away. As you start peeling up, give me a soft push through the palms and drop the elbows down into the mat. Using the support of the elbows to find your baby cobra line, not collapsing your frame. So lengthen, try and look for additional length in the mid and the top section of your back. So don't load the lower back too much. Hold Bhujangasana, Cobra. Softly peel back down. Reconnect that marble underneath your nose. Slide the hands back slightly so that they're lining up alongside your chest line and push back into child, taking a little time out. Sink the weight of your bum bones back. Big toes are together, knees open nice and wide. And Balasana is an awesome pose to come to just take a little bit of a time out. Feel comfortable to use it at any time during the class. Let's start playing in earnest. Let's begin with a little sequence on the left. Tuck your toes under and find a comfortable down dog frame. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Push into your hands and your feet and stretch the whole body. Keep pulling the belly button softly into the center line and enjoy long, lengthened limbs. We're going to do a little step through with the left leg and find our way into a warrior one line on the left. Soften the left leg, swing it through to the inside of the right hand, stacking knee over ankle as you step through. And then drop your back leg to about a 45-degree angle and peel up along the center line, floating both hands alongside your ears to frame your head and gently have those fingertips pointing up to the ceiling. Drop as low as you can and make sure that that back foot is slightly turned in. Try not to lean aggressively into the lead leg. So try to kick into that back heel and give me equal weight on the front and the back limb. Keep lengthening towards the ceiling and try and grow through the spine. We're going to morph into a warrior two line. Open up your back leg to 90 and T-shape the arms. Don't drop the back arm. Take a peek back and check that your arms are more or less parallel. When you're comfortable, Keep your gaze steady over the front forefinger and come as low to the mat as you can as you find Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Keep lengthening through both sets of hands. Let's play it up and reverse the warrior. Invert your front hand, pull it slightly forward, and then wrap around, taking your back hand and seeing if you can wrap to the inside of that thigh today as you reverse your warrior, giving me a soft elbow on the lead arm and looking up towards the ceiling. Keep holding. You're going to gently come out of it and find your way into a side angle, placing the left arm on the inside of the left leg and opening up into T, or coming straight into a bind if you can, feeding your bottom hand through and around and trying to give me a bear grip or holding onto your wrist line behind you. If connecting to the floor or coming into the bind is not an option, maybe reach for your block. Use the block in any dimension on the inside of your lead leg and just give me a comfortable lean-to position. If you don't have a block at hand, you could even just give me a soft elbow on the lead arm and just stretch your top hand up to the ceiling. Play where you're comfortable. Keep dropping your hips as low to the floor as you can as you come into the bind or the modification of your choice. From here, we're going to open up into a wide-legged standing straddle, Prasarita, Padottanasana, and we're going to do a little walk-through today. Unbind your hands and connect them to the mat. Bringing your legs into parallel and opening up your leg line as wide as you can. Invert your hands and creep them through. As you come through your leg line, try to claw through your fingertips as you nod your crown towards the head. If you're nice and low towards the floor, you may be able to connect your forehead. If coming closer to the floor is not an option, you might be set up higher up with just a gentle fingertip connection to the mat. You could even use your block on the mat if you're comfortable there, maybe just walking through and holding onto the block. Play where you're comfortable, but get a nice stretch through the inside of those thighs. From here, we're going to come up into a modified wide horse. Think of marrying goddess and horse as you come up. Creep your hands back through to your start position and set your focus on your feet. Think plie line. Draw your heels in towards the center line and open up the feet as wide as you can. Think of keeping your feet and your heels in a straight line, or bring them into more of a 45 if you're more comfortable there. You've got your knees and your ankles more or less in a straight line. Drop your bum towards the mat and float your hands softly up towards the ceiling, thinking of framing your ears with your hands. Stay or float out into a soft T frame and then move dynamically between the two, using your hands as two oars, almost working with resistance through the arms. Bring the arms back overhead, bring your back leg in and take a step to the front of the mat, softening the arms at your side and coming into a narrow mountain, Tadasana. Place the hands softly on the top of your thighs and start leaning forward, coming into a soft forward fold, pausing when you hit a tabletop line, and then running your hands down, wrapping around your calves and folding into a soft forward fold. Holding. If you're feeling very stiff through the spine, you could take your block, use it as a prop, and find a lean-in position. You could even place the block behind your back and play here. Find a comfortable position that works for you and hold your forward fold, allowing the blood to pool in your head and giving yourself an amazing little facial pick-me-up. Keep pulling your belly button in towards your spine. Soften through the knees and step back, finding your way into the down dog. Use your down dog as recovery, pushing into your hands and your legs simultaneously. Work the dog. If the dog is too rigorous for you, feel comfortable to come to child pose and take a little time out there. We're going to repeat that short sequence on the right. When you're ready, you're going to give me a step through with the right leg to the inside of your right hand. Check your alignment on the lead leg and peep through to that back leg. Drop it at 45. Open up the legs as wide as you can as you come up to your warrior one line. Both hips should be looking more or less to the front of the mat and soften through those shoulders. Try not to hunch up your shoulders. Think of softening through the collarbones and almost dropping your armpits down towards your waist. Open up into a warrior two line, your back leg now at a 45, or rather a 90. From your 45, open it up into a 90. Lengthen through those arms and give me a strong gaze over your front forefinger as you find Virabhadrasana 2. Keep lengthening through your fingertips. Keep lengthening through your legs. Drop your center of gravity down nice and low to the mat. Let's reverse that warrior. Invert your front hand, give me a soft wrap around, and as you touch that back hand to the leg, see if you can wrap around to the inside of the thigh, find a nice holding spot there, and just settle into your reverse warrior. Strong through both legs. We're going to bring it into a side angle from here, coming straight into the bind if you can. Bring that top hand down, tucking it in, through and around to bind behind your back. If binding is not an option for you, maybe soft T-frame through the arms or use your block. Find the side angle variation that you feel comfortable with today and just hold for a comfortable 10 more breaths here. Drop as low to the floor as you can and really try to open up through the groin. We're going to step through to that low prasarita, opening up into a wide standing straddle. When you're ready, unbind and connect your hands to the mat. Open up the legs as wide as you're comfortable with. Invert your hands and then give me a nice little walk through. Check that your feet are in parallel. Once you've walked through, I want you to almost think of clawing through the fingertips and getting a nice awesome stretch through the arms at the same time that you're stretching those inner thighs. Weight bearing relatively equal between the heel and the ball of the foot on both sides. Gently come back to your start position on the mat and set yourself up for that wide horse. Think of coming into a goddess line, but opening up into more of a plie line on the mat. Float your arms overhead and find your position on the mat. Either staying here with your arms overhead or playing between a soft T and floating back. Almost using your arms as two paddles and swimming through a body of water with resistance. End with your arms overhead, step the back leg in and take a step to the front of the mat. Arms are soft and relaxed at your side. Find a comfortable Tadasana, mountain, and then softly fold forward, running your hands down the top of your thighs, maybe pausing first in a tabletop line. Find that weight bearing equal on your feet. When you're ready, fold the rest of the way forward, trying to wrap around your thighs and your calves and nodding, almost hugging the calves in towards your chest as you try to intensify your forward fold. Hold for me. Uttanasana. Give me 5 more breaths here if you can, and then we're going to play with a modified butterfly line. I'll give you a side view and then a front view. Soften through the knees and connect your fingertips to the mat. Look down towards your feet. Float your heels off the mat, bring them into the center line, and grip the mat with all 10 toes as you open up the knees to the side of the room, coming into a soft floating butterfly, and see if you can place your hands on the knees. From the front, from your forward fold, gently bring the heels up off the floor. Open up into a gentle butterfly squat line and place the hands on your inner thighs. Drop through the right shoulder. Come back to the center line, drop through the left shoulder. Keep your current orientation on the mat and just gently release dynamically through your shoulders. Give me one more release to each side, then we're going to find our way into a seated frame at the front of the mat. Maybe bringing the knees into the center line and gently rolling back until your bum connects to the mat. Sitting up nice and tall, find your way into staff pose, Dandasana. Move your bum flesh out the way and make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall on both of your bum bones. Place the arms softly at your side, either with a soft fingertip connection or a fisted line. Sit up nice and tall and really engage the top of your thighs and your inner thighs and see if you can float your heels just off the floor. Long line through the spine. Float your arms overhead and think of framing your ears as you lengthen that line through your spine. Keep pulling your belly button in towards your center line. And then soften through the legs as you reconnect the hands and give me a soft pedal out. We're going to come to intense east. Make sure that you've got enough room to connect the sole of your foot to the mat. I'm going to work it today with a fisted line. You could play with a flat palm or a fisted line, whichever feels comfortable for you. Find your seat, Dandasana, and feet just inside of hip width distance apart. Float your hands back, pull a lining up underneath your shoulders. Softly think of trying to connect the whole sole of your foot to the mat as you squeeze through the glutes, quads, and hamstrings and come up into a little tabletop line. Strong through the shoulders, the core, and the legs, nodding the chin softly into a neutral line so that there's no tension on the front or the back of your neck. Gently reconnect and find your way back into your staff pose. Give me a soft forward fold, trying to drape over your toes. If the toes are not accessible and you have a block or a strap, you could use either one. Using the strap, loop around the feet and find your forward fold. If you're using the block, maybe you could place the block narrow side between your two legs and find a lean-in position. Or maybe you could hook the block around your feet and play with your forward fold there, getting a nice intense stretch. Play where you're comfortable. See if you can give me 5 more relaxed breaths here. From here, we're going to ease into a bound bridge line. Gently peel up along the center line, open up the feet so that they're hip width distance apart, and give me one roll down to come straight into a bound bridge. Nod your chin to your chest, Round out your spine in C-curve and start articulating down with care. As soon as your lower back connects to the mat, bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet, set up your bridge line, keep your feet and your knees hip-width distance apart. Start peeling up one vertebra at a time, coming up into your bridge. Either hands flat on the floor or interlace the hands behind your back. Squeeze the two shoulder blades as close together as you can and find your bound bridge. Baddha Setu Bandha. Play where you're comfortable, holding the bridge for at least another 10 comfortable breaths. Make sure that you're not being the knees in or out. Keep that distance between your feet and your knees consistent. Keep your chin dropped softly down so that you're connecting to your thyroid, kick-starting your metabolism for the remainder of the week. When you're ready to come out of your bridge, uninterlace the hands, open up that tight knot between the shoulders, and then start rolling down really slowly with control through the spine and the core as you reconnect to the mat. Hug your knees into the chest and rock straight up into your forward fold, trying to loop around your feet, using your block or your strap. Play with the modification you feel comfortable with and see if you can hold it for at least another 10 to maybe 15 gentle breath cycles. Just trying to release all of the tension from your lower back and really getting as much joy out of that stretch as you can. From here, we're going to find our way straight into Halasana, a little plow, and from plow, you're going to migrate into a shoulder stand. If you've got any neck or back issues that contraindicate you coming into the plow or the shoulder stand, I would advise just playing with the bridge of your choice. So rinsing and repeating what we just played with in the bridge line, playing with the hand position and just modifying as you need to. Otherwise, softly peel up, arms at your sides. As you rock the weight back, draw your knees in towards your body line and find your plow line. Hands on the floor behind you, or you can support your lower back, leg line parallel to the floor, or you can drop the feet to the mat if you like. Let's all have the hands come towards the back for support. And then you can bring it straight into Savasana, shoulder stand, by bringing the hands up closer towards your shoulder line and piking the legs up to the ceiling. I'm going to play with a little modified butterfly line, bringing the soles together and opening up the knees to the side of the room. Find the shoulder stand or the plow or the bridge that's working for you today. Keep activating into that thyroid. If you were in the butterfly modification of Savasana, hold for a couple more breaths, and when you're ready to come out, think of floating the knees together along the center line. Drop the knees softly towards your nose line. Allow the knees to bleed out towards your ears, and then softly, hands palms down on the mat, roll back into your forward fold, draping and giving yourself a little bit of a release, using the forward fold that works for you. From here, gently peel up along the center line and morph into easy sitting, leading with the right leg in front. Tuck the left heel as close to your perineum as you can and stack the right leg in front. Give me a big breath in and softly connect your fingertips to the mat as you creep your weight forward, nodding the crown as close to the floor as you can and softly trying to connect your palms and your elbows to the mat. If coming close to the floor is not an option for you, maybe take a block Use it in any dimension and find a comfortable lean-in position for yourself. You could even place the block on the floor and just lean your forehead into the block. Find a lean-in that works for you and keep trying to drop your torso as low to the floor as you can. Peel up along the center line. Take your middle index finger and thumb. Reach for your big toe on each foot and tip the weight just off your tailbone, coming into a floating butterfly with the soles of the feet together and the knees open to the side. Stay or open up into a V shape, trying to keep that toe hold. Try and open up the legs as wide as you can and try not to round out through the spine and hunch up. Try to drop your shoulders away from your ears and use that toe grip to really try and open up through the inner thighs. Keep lengthening through your spine. And then tuck back into easy sitting, this time leading with the left leg in front, and find the forward fold that works for you. Surrender, release on the exhale. Make your arms heavy into the mat. Make your crown weighted into the mat. Keep your belly button softly pulled in. Peel up along the center line. Find your little floating butterfly grip. And when you're ready, see if you can open back up into V. Every time you come into the V, try and see if you can open up and make that V a little bit wider. Using that grip and almost resisting with the toe hold and really opening up through those inner thighs and stretching that lower belly area. You're going to tuck back into easy sitting on the first side or find your way into a half lotus line with the right leg on top. So if you're coming into the half lotus, tuck the heel of your right foot as close to your hip bone on the left as you can, resting the foot on top of your thigh. Take the right palm, place it on the inside of your right knee, push that knee down towards the mat as you pivot to look over the left shoulder. Give me a long line through the spine, finding a soft, twisted frame here on the mat. Keep lengthening through that spine. Come back towards the center line, creeping your hands forward and giving me a soft forward fold. Use a block if you need to. Make your shoulders and your torso heavy. Make the crown of your head heavy. Peel up softly along the center line and find your little floating butterfly line. Keep your eye on a focal point on the wall or the floor in front of you. As you open up, try and open up those legs as wide as you can. Think of lengthening through the spine and really getting a nice stretch through the lower belly area. Tuck into your half lotus line on side 2, leading with the left leg on top, or come back into easy sitting. Left palm to the inside of that left knee. Rotate and peek over the right shoulder as you softly push down on the inner thigh on the left and try and open up through the groin area on the left side of the body. Long and lengthen through the spine. Belly button softly pulled in and engaged the whole time. Come back to the center line and find a soft forward drape, creeping and trying to come as low to the mat as you can, holding that half lotus line steady the whole time. Come back up to the center line. Find your floating butterfly. When you're ready, stay or play. Opening up, stretching through the inner thighs, stretching through the lower belly area, and thinking Beautiful long line from your tailbone to your crown. Give me a couple more breaths here, then we're going to bring it into double pigeon, Agni Stambhasana. Thinking of trying to marry your your half lotus line with your easy sitting pose. Let's begin with the right leg on top. Come back to the mat. To find your line, bend the left knee and straighten up the knee and the ankle, more or less in a straight line so that you're mimicking the edge of your mat. Then swing the right leg around and try to overlay foot over knee, knee over foot as you lean forward. It should feel slightly more uncomfortable than easy sitting. If you feel super, super comfortable and it doesn't feel any different than you did in easy sitting, you're either sitting in the wrong position or you're just super open through the knees and the hips. Look at your legs. There should be a triangle between the two legs and you should have foot over knee, knee over foot. Gently walk your hands around and creep your fingertips to the front of the mat, almost clawing through your fingertips and trying to bring your chest closer to the legs. Creep softly up along the center line. Float the left arm behind your back and place the right palm to the inside of the right knee. Gently, gently, gently pushing down on that knee as you look over the back left shoulder. Don't force it. You don't want to hear snap, crackle, pop. So please work with care. Listen to your body, modify if you need to, cut back and shake it out at any time if you need to. Come back to the center line. Hug your right knee in towards your chest and extend your left leg, sitting up nice and tall. Float the right arm behind your back and hug opposite hand to knee as you look over that right shoulder to the floor behind you. Extend the left leg and give me a nice brace into that whole foot as if you were kicking against a wall. Come back to your first hug, hugging that leg in towards your chest with both arms. Then softly twist in the opposite direction, placing the left fingertips on the floor behind you. Extend the right arm in front and place the whole arm, including your shoulder, on the inside of the right knee. Extending your hands softly as if you wanted to touch the wall at the opposite end. Then dropping your fingertips down to the floor and peeking over the back shoulder. There are a couple of play options here. If you have the range of motion, you can take your right fingertips, taking the middle index finger and thumb, and give me a toe lock on your left foot. And then peek over that back shoulder, see if you can use your inner thighs and your lower abs, pull up towards the center line and see if you can float and hover that back arm behind you, palm open and accessible. Play where you're comfortable. You could even loop the strap around that foot if you can't quite make the connection with your foot. Play where you're comfortable. Hold me. Find your way back to the center. Shake it out. You're going to bend that right knee again. Reach for the undercarriage of your foot. Think one-legged happy baby. Bend the knee, hug it into your chest, and try to bring that knee. I'm going to give you a front view. Try to bring that knee in as close to your armpit as you can. Side view. Bringing that knee in as close to your armpit as you can. Now hold on to your right foot with your right arm. Extend your left arm out in front. Take a big breath in. And on the exhale, push into arrow by extending the right leg and floating the left arm behind you. Thinking of giving me a long line from your left fingertips to your right toe. Hold that arrow. You could loop your belt or your strap around the foot if you need to help you make that connection. Play where you're comfortable. See if you can hold for maybe 5 more breaths here. Come back to the center line, shake it out. Let's find Agnisthambasana double pigeon on the left. Bend the right leg. Think knee on the ankle in a straight line. Mimic the edge of your mat. Overlay your left leg on top of your right. Think foot over knee, knee over foot. Find a gentle lean-in position. Hands are floating softly behind your back, behind your hip line, and just nod your chest towards your leg line. Stay or creep the hands around to maybe creep towards the front edge of your mat. Try and claw through the fingertips and get more bang for your butt as you come into the stretch. Slowly creep back towards the center line. Place right fingertips on the floor behind you, left hand to the inside of the left knee. Gently pivot, look over the back shoulder as you push softly down on the inside of that left leg. Give me a couple more breaths here, then we'll open up through the legs. As you come back towards the center line, extend the right leg and bend the left leg, hugging that knee in towards your chest. Sitting up nice and tall on the mat. Then hug opposite elbow to knee and float the left arm behind your back, bracing and extending through that right leg as you come into a modified mariachi asana. Unbind, squeeze that thigh into your chest, and then take the twist softly in the opposite direction, floating the right fingertips to the mat behind you. Bring the whole inside of the left arm to the inside of the left knee. Extending and either placing those fingertips softly on the floor or taking your middle index finger and thumb and trying to connect to the toe as you hover that leg off the floor. Find your inner thigh and your lower ab connection. See if you can float and hover the right arm behind you. Find your way back to the center line and tuck into a one-legged happy baby, reaching for the undercarriage of your left foot. Tuck that knee in as close to your armpit as you can and really open up through the groin. When you're ready, keep holding onto the left foot with your left arm. Float the right hand out in front of you. Take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, push the left leg away as you float the right arm behind your back, giving me a long line through the foot and the arm. Try to lengthen through your spine. Use the modification if you need to, or stop anywhere along that process and hold. Find your way back to the center line. Bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat. Feet and knees just inside of hip width distance apart. Brace your hands softly on your shins and lengthen up through your spine as if there was a suction cup pulling the crown towards the ceiling. Then start softening through the spine. Nod your chin softly towards your chest. Think of a stone depressing through your chest bone. As your spine starts rounding out, allow the feet to softly come up off the mat as you rock back as far as your shoulder blades and then back to your start position. Ground softly through your heels. Then allow the rest of your foot to connect. Push through the feet, your inner thighs and your lower abs to lengthen up through the spine. Play with that movement. Soften through the spine, round out. Allow the feet to come up off the mat. Rock back as far as your shoulder blades. Come back to your start. Connect the feet softly from the back to the front. Root through the feet and lengthen through the spine. One more time. Softly round out. Come back to the center line. Sweep the legs softly underneath you and come to a kneeling frame on the mat. Preferably in Thunderbolt, sitting back on the heels with the knees and the feet together, or you can just give me a kneeling frame here if that's more comfortable for you. Bend the left elbow, tuck the hand and the palm behind your back, reaching for that spot between the shoulder blades. Reach overhead with your right hand and pull the elbow into the center line, almost as if you wanted to tuck it behind your headline. Don't give me too much arch through the back. Give me a little tuck of the tailbone and pull the belly button in. Then keep holding onto that elbow as you bring the arm in front of your chest and hug it softly in towards your body line with a long extended arm on the left. Drop the arm softly on your lap and repeat on the right. Bending the right elbow, find your hand position behind your back and then softly hug that elbow into the center line. Keep holding onto that elbow. Draw the whole arm in front of your body line and hug in towards your chest. Place your hands softly on the top of your thighs or just hold your kneeling frame. Nod your chin to your chest. Release the tension from the back of your neck, long through the spine. Come back to neutral and gently look up to the ceiling, giving me a soft drop of the shoulders away from your ear and not compressing but lengthening through the back of your neck. Come back to the center line. Take a big breath in and peek over your left shoulder, giving me as much length through the neck as you can, dropping the shoulders away from your ears. Come back to the center line and peek over the right shoulder. Keep lengthening as much as you can through the neck. Try and grow from between your shoulder blades towards the very crown of your head. Come back to the center line. Float the left arm up so that it's alongside your ear. Bend through the elbow and reach with your palm for your ear. Slowly drop your left ear towards your left shoulder and think of softly pulling your right ear up towards the ceiling as you come into a gentle stretch. Try not to compress the neck too much on the left. Think of rather trying to grow on the right side of your neck. Come back to the center line and repeat on the second side. Float that right arm up alongside your ear. Reach over for the left ear. As you softly nod your head to the right, think of softly pulling the ear up towards the ceiling on the left. Don't compress the neck on the right. Come softly back towards the center line, floating your hands to prayer. Take a gentle namaste to end off your practice. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up to like it. Make sure you shoot me your comments and make sure you are subscribed. Before I sign off for today, for tomorrow's class, we are going to be having some fun on the mat and you're going to need 2 sticks for tomorrow's class. I've just grabbed 2 chopsticks. You can grab anything that's about the same length as a chopstick. So you could use a society stick, you could use 2 rulers, you could use 2 pencils, you could actually go outside during lockdown and scrounge around in your garden and to find 2 sticks about the length of a chopstick. You could even use 2 drumsticks if you have them. So rummage around in your home and see what you can find for fun time on the mat tomorrow. Until then, keep it light.